Hello guys, how are you? Welcome to another video. It's Goli. Today we want to talk about command injection. So I think everybody here did, and sometimes we had some overall idea about it, what it is, and but today we want to talk about it in detail. So I want to really give you insight how it works and what it is. Command injection. So we have command injection, we have SQL injection, but today we specifically talk about just command injection. Okay, so basically it's a vulnerability or a drawback or a flaw in a web applications, and when the programmer or developer they develop a platform or web app, and they give it you they give you the access to work with it. For example, I don't know everything, and so it can be Facebook, Instagram, everything that the user can give input. So it's possible for command injection, but of course there are ways to defend it, but we are talking about the flow in the architecture or in the program or in the code specific. So yeah, so basically when the user can put input and that input will be processed by server, so here is a place that command injection can happen. So now we want to have a look in a piece of code which is vulnerable and vulnerable against exactly command injection, and I will give you some general advice how you can protect it, but that's not the main topic of this video. So let's see here. So this is a PHP code, and here you see if input 1 is set, then get input 1 and put it in var 1 and put var 2 as default, and the same for input 2. So input, if it is set, put input 2 instead of var2, and then here we will work with them. So var1 and var2, which we already set them here or here or here, and then we are using them directly in a command. So pass through is a function in PHP, so you can read about it. So whatever you give it to pass through, it directly executed on the system, on the server. So in this case, we are using that on our Linux. So here is the big problem. So the input of the user is going to be used directly, to the command that the server is going to process. So of course there is something behind that, per user being something, and then var1 and then var2, but it's not that's not the case, so we can just omit everything and exactly give the server what we want here. And this pass through function, it doesn't check anything, it just directly execute this command on the server. So the solution that we can defend it, for example, yeah, there are sanitizer for the input or input validation or something else. For example, there's a blacklist, whitelist, or something like that. So they can prevent this kind of attack. For example, they check, okay, there is a blacklist for var1 and so for var1, and they say, okay, if var1 includes something like this, just ignore it, don't execute it. So this is one solution. Of course there are much more solutions which are not the case of this video, and I'm not gonna talk about them, but yeah. So now we see the input of user will directly come to the command, and then this one will be executed on the server. So now we come to second part. We say, okay, for example, we want to see the list of the I don't know, we want to list the directories and the file on the server, or we want to use which process is going on there, or we want to use who am I command, or whatever you want. So it doesn't matter. So just we want to implement some command. So here we see there are one part here, two part, and three part. In this case we are going just to work with one of them because it's okay. You know, the second one is set as default, so or we can ignore it later as well in the command, but we want to work with that one. So there is a facility, or there is a feature in CLI, so you can separate commands with semicolon. For example, if you write ls semicolon, for example, who am I, semicolon cd root, and then semicolon. So they are in one line, but all of them will be deployed. So all of them will be run. So first input will be ls, the second one will be who am I, and the third one will be cd/root. So we change to the root directory. And that's exactly the topic which we are going to use here. So we know the system has problems, something like this. Okay. And now we want to ignore the first one, or, you know, okay, we say, okay, that can be run as well. So in the input field, so here in the input field, we start with a semicolon. We want to say, okay, run this command, whatever it is. So we say semicolon here. And now it's the first variable, which is here. Okay, which is this field. So this is choose your code. So this is the default one, which we see here. By default, it is default, so we don't want to do anything with that. And now we want to enter here. So we say, okay, for example, now we want to say, okay, we want to list the directories there, list the folders in that directory there. So we say ls. So by this command, if I run this command, so here it will be something like this. So which means, okay, just run the first part. We don't care what the output is or what it does. And then run my second input, which the user already gave it here. And then it is set to var. So if I say, okay, semicolon ls, we see, yeah, we see. Now we have access to the directories, to the files on the server. And now we want to see, okay, where we are. Okay. So again, semicolon, and now pwd. So we say, okay, we are here. I want to see which user I'm using. So again, semicolon, who am I? Apache. So now I want to see both of them. For example, two commands together. So I can say, okay, ls, and then who am I? So first it lists, and then it shows Apache. See, first it shows the list of directories or the files there, and then it shows Apache. For example, for some cases we want to ignore something, and here it doesn't help us that much, but we can use, you know, this one. So hashtag, or you know, here we will comment the rest of, we will comment the rest of the line. So here I say, okay, now we separated the first part, and now I don't want to care about the rest, so I just make them comment. So again, the same, you can use it here. Let's see, for example, ls, and then this time I don't want to see who am I. So here in this case doesn't make sense what we are doing. I want to just show you, but I want to see how it works. You see, now it didn't show us because the second part was highlighted as comment, and now we just saw the first part. So this is command injection. So we are injecting a command in the system. Okay, so we can inject whatever we want. Okay, so for example, if there is problem with the network of that system and the server, so it can download many things. So for example, I can write, okay, I can, as a hacker, I can set up a web application on my attacker machine or attack machine, and then just run a command there to download something from my machine. Okay, and then we have the file there, and then we can run our file here, so which is really bad in the worst case. But here we just try to define and explain what command injection is. I hope you have enjoyed, and yeah, just do more exercise. There are many platforms. So this platform which I used is Try Acme, and you can hack the bikes or Pico, CTF, or there are a lot of platforms that you can work with them and make your hand dirty. So yeah, do them, have fun. We will see each other later. Bye bye.